One of the things that's very, very important about herbs and supplements is this law that was passed in 1994, which we call DSHEA, or Dietary Supplement Herb Education Act, which was enacted into law. And basically what happened with this law is that any supplement that comes out and comes on the counter at your local pharmacy or natural food store or grocery store does not need to be tested for contamination or consistency. It goes up on the shelf, and it includes a vitamin, a mineral, herb, amino acid. Anything you can buy in that area is not tested for safety. It's not regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. They do not have to prove that their products are safe, only reasonably assure. So there's no standard. What you get is what you get. Let the buyer beware. So what is important is that the supplements may not claim to cure. So if you're buying melatonin, it should not say on the bottle, will help you go to sleep. It will say assist in sleep. If you buy some echinacea, it will not say cure common cold. It will say boost immune system. If you use CoQ10, it will say support function of normal body. So if it says will cure your kid's arthritis, it's not allowed to say that, and those things need to get pulled off the shelf. So this, I'm not trying to scare you, but I just want you to understand this is a very big deal. And so the other flip of this is that companies that manufacture herbs and supplements are aware of DSHEA, and there have been multiple attempts by many, many well-wishing people to take DSHEA away and make herbs and supplements more standardized and regulated, but that keeps failing because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry in many states where if the regulation would actually shut these places down. So what the companies who are excellent have done is responded with a CGMPS, which is current good manufacturing practice. So they've responded to DSHEA in their own way to assure the public that they are testing their products, that they are safe, and they're not contaminated. So when you're buying something, you need to look on the bottle to make sure that it has a CGMPS stamp on it that shows that this company has gone through a lot more rigor to make sure their products are safe. And the reason is because of unknown toxicity. So if you go to our Chinatown district and you want to buy an herb from a store where the herbs are just in a big jar, you can't know whether that herb was grown in an area that was just downstream from a plant that was making tires. So, and the downstream waters are the ones that are fertilizing or watering the plants. You can't know that that product doesn't have impurities in it. Many, many herbs and supplements are coming from Eastern Europe. And again, the same thing, not a lot of regulation around the water that is fertilized, or even the fertilizer for these plants. So the thing you're buying might be contaminated with something else. If something happens, though, the FDA wants to know. So there's and MedWatch, so if there's a problem, or you can call local poison control and say, my child, or I took this and I have this rash, and then you mention the product, and they keep track of that and try as hard as they can to get into those companies. There's also something called the USP, which is another stamp that you should see on what you buy that shows that the company has gone through extra steps to make sure that their product is safe, not contaminated. They don't test to see if the product works or not. So that's not what is happening with this. It's not testing to see, does it really help you fall asleep? No, it's just testing to make sure that the product is standard and without contamination. And also when you buy a product that's a supplement, you should make sure it has an expiration date on it. They just started doing this about 3 or 4 years ago, just like you would for Tylenol or ibuprofen, which is like things expire. And they expire faster in herbs and supplements than they do in the like amoxicillin or something. It lasts longer because they put stuff in it to make it not stay on the shelf for longer. But supplements wear out much quicker than people realize. So there should be an expiration date on what you buy, and or they also should have a childproof cap on them. Most herbs and supplements that you buy don't. And so if you buy something like this, you need to make sure you go to the pharmacy and have them switch out the cap for a childproof cap, or have them give you a bottle or vial that has a childproof cap on it. Because these supplements, if they're ingested by children, can really hurt them. So it's important to understand that. The other thing that people need to know about is a lot of the herbs and supplements that people use can interfere with blood clotting. So it's important if you are going to go, or your child is going to go to surgery, that you stop taking many herbs or supplements, because these things can interfere with clotting. So if you're going to go have surgery, you really want to make sure things clot, because you want to make sure the wound closes. So it's important to tell your provider if you're doing this. And also if you're going to the emergency room, because of a trauma that your child or you might have incurred, to tell the providers that you're taking something so they understand why you keep bleeding at a certain area, and that's because these supplements might interfere with that. This is the other database that I talk to providers about to look stuff up to make sure that they know about supplements. So this is the IBIDS database that has lots of information for providers or you to look stuff up.